Gentlemen No Class is proud to be a part of the HC Universal Network. Gentlemen No Class is produced, mixed, and edited by M5 Studios. What's up, guys? We are back from a short break. Took a little time off to do our Double Dares challenge. Now we're back with you guys. We're going to be talking about Unidentified, the new show on the History Channel from Tom DeLonge and Luis Elizondo, talking about the investigation into America's history with unidentified flying objects. We're going to get down and dirty with that, talk about some history stuff. So this is going to be a precursor episode to some more episodes on this subject that we're going to be doing coming up. So buckle up. Here we go.
This podcast contains explicit language and is intended for adult audiences. The views and opinions of Gentlemen No Class are strictly for comedic purposes and should not be taken literally. For instance, like this disclaimer. Now grab yourself a pint and enjoy.
Oh. You're going to use that.
Yeah, great.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh. Welcome.
Oh!
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gentlemen No Class, a podcast that when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. I'm Jake.
I'm Big Josh.
Paul.
I'm Rob.
And like it or not, gentle ladies and gentlemen, we are your hosts. Man, this beer is like filling for some odd reason.
It's delicious.
It's
Yeah,
good.
it is.
It's great. But
I had a bunch of this, what's today, Friday? I had a bunch of this last night at
yeah?
Eureka Heights also.
Oh.
I
where's
saw
my
that you
invite?
checked
sweat a
in
lot,
there. Yeah.
Rob?
Yeah,
No, I saw that
it
you
was a
checked
work
in
deal. I didn't want to
Totally.
mix business with pleasure.
Rob, did you sweat a lot last night?
Oh yeah,
I
sweating tonight
imagine.
too. God damn.
Yeah.
I showed
I
up
can
straight from
imagine.
because I was actually at work, so like I showed up in like jeans and like they had like these polyester like polos that we wear. Oh my god, they're so hot. They're not. They look like they're wicking material, but they are not. They're 100% not.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
It does suck.
Yeah.
Really traps in the
Breathable.
flavor, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
you baste in it a little bit, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a pot roast.
Oh, yeah.
Pot roast. Oh. Paul's hungry. I don't think you should mention
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
do that.
we got a sandwich coming. So
I'm
that's
waiting
all.
for Subway to come get me. Subway, yeah, sponsor us. Yeah,
we got a
that's
tuna
cool.
on rye coming, so that's all good.
I'm no Jared Fogler.
So,
but
and how'd you order that Subway?
that was through Uber Eats.
Oh.
We're not dropping. What are we doing?
Shout
We
out.
dropping fucking promoters?
Hey, it
Yeah.
doesn't hurt.
Oh, Uber
It
It doesn't
Eats.
hurt. Can't
Yeah.
hurt. Can't hurt, guys. Hey, there it
Yeah,
is.
fucking.
I gotta label these buttons because that's not what I was trying to push.
Oh.
It worked out.
I think I was doing. No, it wasn't that one either.
Not that one either.
Oh god, those fat ass fucking laughs are so fake.
So fuck stick.
Fucking Brady Bunch bullshit. Fucking audience laugh track.
There it is.
Oh, very
Is
original.
that the one? I think that's the one. Yeah, there you go.
Why are you taking a tour of the soundboard? We did this already.
I forgot that we did that.
All right.
So
Enough.
yeah, we have a soundboard
How
now.
much I love it.
Ultra Cliff.
So
holding
I
our
ran
dicks.
into Cliff. I ran into Cliff at the Weird Al Yankovic concert last Saturday.
I was so
and
high.
and he was like, I love my little shout out, my Ultra Cliff on the podcast.
Awesome.
Nice, nice.
Hell yeah.
Ultra Cliff.
Yeah. So
be a little
there's your
Cliff
shout out, Cliff.
Summer of 79. Can that get a shout out? That was sexy. No? We're not shouting
that was good. Hey, there's nothing to shout out. That was one of those. What do they say? Hashtag old school cool.
That goes down smooth.
So headlines. Let's hit some headlines real quick.
Right.
The Raptors won a championship.
Fuck the
No.
Raptors.
That's my
There's a lot of headlines
No.
The Drake curse is broken, yeah.
the
Mr. Lazar.
yeah, we'll talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
They're releasing Avengers Endgame back into theaters with extra footage.
And how much? You know how long is this extra footage?
I don't
Yeah,
remember
is
them
it-
saying.
Is it like 2 clips?
I don't give a
That'll
fuck
be
how much it is.
hilarious.
I'm going to go see it.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm going to go
I-
see it,
when
but
I
I'd
read
like to
that-
see a lot, but it would be nice.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's bullshit stuff that they, you know,
yeah,
it
like
didn't.
just Thanos' time, the Thanos later years, basically.
The Thanos later years,
Yeah,
as he's
that's
taking a
gonna
shit
show him
before they
farming a
kill
little
him.
bit more.
Exactly. Just real mundane
gonna
bullshit
show him
work waiting for
shopping.
his death.
It's going to show him shopping at Target for that
Go to-
shirt.
Yeah, go to-
Do you think? Okay, so do you think? So we're talking about Endgame. Do you think opening weekend, Toy Story 4 is going to take over Endgame?
No, fuck no.
No, it'll be nice, but no.
I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
you're talking about like Endgame's about to beat Avatar as the number 1 movie of all time.
All
right.
time.
Because they took a page right out of Avatar's playbook. They re-released Avatar like in 3D or something like later on that summer, and that's what put it up that high. Like Endgame hasn't even hit that yet. It's gonna be above Avatar by the end of this weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Guarantee it.
Sickening.
I did see Rocket Man. But we can talk about
How
that later.
was okay?
It's pretty good.
All right.
We don't- that-
Sure.
We can talk about that off air.
I just think about The Rock. You ever seen the Rocket Man, huh? You're
You're the Rocket Man.
the Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
I love that movie. And
movie is that from?
that was a Ninja Turtle director. What's his name? Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I went
Rock.
to
Oh yeah,
Sean Connery.
Yeah,
That's
I went
right.
to
Nick
Alcatraz and I was like, oh, I'm going to
Very
see
proud
all
of
this
yourself.
like cool shit from. None of that shit is really at Alcatraz. All that's staged.
Oh.
None of those
That
rooms
sucks.
actually exist.
Crushed.
You couldn't
Yeah.
go into a cell?
I'm
No,
fucking
totally.
crushed.
You can go into a cell. That
that's
part
cool.
is
That's
real.
kinda cool.
But like when you're talking about like the showers, they're like, oh, we're going to go, and I'm like, sweet, the shower scene.
Oh,
You're
you
like,
See where all
well,
the Navy SEALs got killed.
Yeah, that is.
I told you know
Not
what this
there.
shit
You
does.
You
That
know,
scene-
see how this shit
It's on-
works?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
all the
there
big
goes.
Dewey
It
knife?
works, yeah.
So
Rockets, man.
what's the Bob Lazar thing? Let's hit that.
Mr. Lazar?
Mr.
Yeah.
Lazar.
Mr.
Senor
Lazar is the
Lazar.
one-
You show your respect.
Yeah, he is
Senor
the one-
Laser.
Laser, yeah.
Major Laser.
He is the one responsible for what we know as Area 51.
But
What-
did
what-
he work
everything we
at
know about
Area
it pretty much.
51?
Yes.
But hold
Or
on,
was it-
wait. Well, I'm just
Oh, he
saying,
worked
as an
there.
introduction, people don't know Bob
S4,
Lazar.
I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of background.
Well, it was a
Basically,
program.
like he's from damn it, where was he from? I think New Mexico.
Well, he worked at Los
In
Alamos, yeah.
Well,
In
then
the lab,
they heard
yes.
about he was in his early 20s. He had a Honda and he put a fucking jet engine in that fucking thing, and he was known around town and people knew him, and he was somewhat of an engineer, and like he knew. I don't know if by then if he was already. I think he graduated college and whatnot, but anyway,
Well, there's some there's some shady
basically-
stuff with that, but
well,
yeah, go
either
ahead.
way, that like he got a headline in the paper in his town for that car, and kind of drew some attention, and it got the attention of some people in the government, and they approached him. It's a little, I'm probably missing a lot of parts, but basically that led him to where he worked and what he claimed Area 51, or like Jacob said, S4 is how he referred it to. But he was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he has, I don't know when's the last time he's done an interview this big. It's been I think it's been a
He's
while.
been away from the public.
Yeah, and it's a pretty big deal. So you should check it out if you definitely into UFOs, and especially Area 51. Like I said, he's the one that pretty much made Area 51 go public. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't know that that existed.
Yeah.
He was the one that basically like brought it out of myth
Yeah,
and made the government admit that it was
right. But yeah,
real.
still, like,
Eventually, I mean, it took him a while to admit that it was
but still,
real, but
Right.
when he released it, people had no idea at all. Like it was complete. Like, well, we know today, of course, but when he came out in the fucking news and broke the story, like nobody had any idea the shit existed.
Well, because he took his friends out there. He took his friends out there to watch the fucking launches and stuff. He goes, yeah, 8 o'clock, this shit's going to happen.
They got a little stupid too.
Yeah.
Like, they said it took a
Well,
trailer.
we would all get stupid. I mean, I think
and
I would.
yeah, I would. I mean,
I won't go there without
Yeah.
beer.
That's for damn
Yeah,
sure.
he
Hey,
would-
man.
Yeah, basically, he would take Bob Lazar when he was working. He would take his wife and some of his close friends to where they did test flights at designated times and during the week he knew about, and it was just unreal maneuvers. These aircrafts or whatever it was. It wasn't our technology basically.
Do we have a quick Area 51 story that we could throw in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a time where Paul and I went, and my wife, Megan,
we've
went to
done it
Area
before.
51. I don't think I talked about this on the podcast, but we went up to the sign, Area 51, do not go past this sign, whatever. We turned back around, and
You got a flat tire, and it was like the
Oh,
hills
did I
have
say
eyes.
that?
Yeah,
I did.
you've
Okay.
shared this
Okay.
before.
Well, never mind. We'll revisit that in the previous episode.
Go
Yeah.
back and listen to that episode.
Yeah.
It's it's the paranormal one. I think that's the one that the
You're right.
Skinwalker Ranch one, the first one.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah.
But anything new on the headline front?
Well, kind of a big deal. The whole Iran situation.
What's up with you in politics?
Well, I'm not talking about politics.
That's kind of politics. All right, you already mentioned it. Go ahead.
My bad. My bad.
Go ahead. No, I want to hear it now.
Well,
I'm sure everybody else.
So
wants to
there's
hear
a
this
bunch
shit.
of tension.
Tell us what's going on, Rod Ryan.
Appreciate that. Come to the stage. Ayatollah.
I know nobody can't see us, but it's people maybe should notice. Like everybody's standing up, but me, I'm sitting down. It's hilarious. It just seems like I'm about to get.
What kind of fucking call out is that?
I was
Paul?
gonna get
weird flex, bro.
From this view, it looks like I'm gonna get bukkake.
I'm not gonna lie,
weird
it's not
flex.
out of the
It's
realm
not a
of possibility, bro. It's not out of the realm of possibility,
I'm
man.
just saying, from my perspective, it looks
Sure.
hilarious. I wasn't even to call you guys out or anything. I was just.
Oh no,
that
I
looks
love you,
funny.
Paul. You might get a dick in the mouth before
I
this
don't
is all
want that.
over.
That's pretty.
And that is what's going on in Iran.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Iran. I don't really care.
It's a lot of we hate you,
guys
you
hear
hate
me?
us.
pretty good.
Figure it
Pretty
out.
It's just.
You gotta get really close to that mic, baby. Don't be shy.
I'm trying to do like you said, fist.
There you go.
Wait, do that one more
But
time?
it sounds.
Do that one more time, Paul? With the fist thing?
Just bump his channel up just a little bit more.
There we go.
Make his mic go bump, bump, bump.
Okay.
That's better.
Much better. Yes.
There we go.
There we
I
go.
was trying to
It's
make
hard to monitor.
I was trying to
Well-
slowly fade him out of the podcast.
My monitor, like on my end, I couldn't hear. It was hard to hear for me.
I can just edit him out of the whole episode. I mean,
I don't care. That's fine.
It's gonna fuck up my whole
Fuck you
bukkake
guys.
plan.
No.
there was
Josh.
there
Josh
was
is
one
cool,
more
though.
there was one more thing that we wanted to talk about. It's been 3 weeks, so there's
Sure.
been a lot of stuff that's happened.
3
Just
weeks.
real quick, I just want to give a shout out to all of our friends over at Eureka Heights for letting us do our Double Dares challenge over there. It went off swimmingly well. Much to all the efforts from everybody put in. Everybody worked. We all worked really hard on that. It all came together.
Thank you, Jessica and Eddie and Rob, your brother, and his
Yeah,
buddy.
Parker and Colton came and won, and Jessica and Eddie.
Yeah.
They
Fucking
thank
Eddie.
them for coming out and stepping in and making their own uniforms. That was fucking above and
Look at
beyond.
But Eddie getting frustrated with the watermelon in the
Yeah,
car.
that was great. I tried that later on, and it's not as hard as Eddie made it out to be. Like, but when you're on the spot, like,
And blind too, yeah.
Poor guy.
He's
Damn.
partially blind too. He doesn't care. I
Yeah.
call him out. He doesn't
Well,
care.
Yeah, let's
He's
laugh
cool
at
about it.
disabilities. It's cool.
anyway, so
Hey!
that was
That's
that was
our
a good
thing.
time.
Yeah, it was
and-
fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
do
yeah.
some more.
The Spanx were fucking surprisingly
Yeah,
comfortable,
Josh.
guys.
Surprisingly,
comfortable.
It's
shot,
too bad.
too.
We'll do it a little better next time. We didn't actually get to the Indian leg wrestle, unfortunately. They ran out of time. I think that it was too many chicken wings is what killed us.
Yeah, the chicken set us back,
and
and
the,
then a little bit. We could have done with like 3 cones.
But
you know,
you
it
know.
was
Hey,
crazy because at one point, you're like the song stuff. You're like, I told you that's it. It's like that's it. That was 2 minutes. Like yeah, it's like you didn't think it was that much.
Yeah,
It
I
was-
thought you had only done a minute of it, and I was like, no, keep it going. You should have
Yeah.
just looped it.
I
It's
yeah,
all right.
it
It's
was-
whatever.
Yeah, it was over 2 minutes.
For the record,
We'll have a video up at some point.
Yeah. I've been crazy busy, but it'll be up soon. But just for the record, just want to note that Paul's the only one sitting down in the studio.
He's already said that. He admitted it himself. That's what he was talking about.
Oh.
He said he feels like he's going to get a bukkake.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what you meant by
I'm
that.
talking shit about myself.
Bukkake is not a type of
I don't see
Japanese
why you guys
food.
were
Oh,
like
Yeah.
offended
Cool.
or
I mean,
something.
it is kind
Seemed
of
like it.
Japanese food, but
Shut up.
I guess depending on who's receiving it.
it's actually who's delivering it.
Delivering it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
Tomato, tomato.
White privilege.
So,
Guys are so far.
to the headlines.
Yep.
So, this episode, we're going to be talking about and focusing on a new show on the History Channel from To the Stars Academy, which is an effort put forth by Tom DeLonge, a good, the front man for Blink-182.
One day I'll be a good friend of the show.
I hope.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I got a pretty
gives a
shitty no.
shit?
We don't want to talk to y'all. But that's
well,
cool.
that you know what?
Josh
We're
is
not
gonna
big
ruin
time.
it. You're gonna compromise it for us, Josh.
You know,
No,
it's-
I'm gonna
it's-
make it
please
fucking
do.
happen. Is what I'm gonna
Please
the
do.
do.
squeaky wheel is what gets greased. You know what I mean?
Right,
Fuck
So,
greasy and wheels.
anyway, so it's been tonight will be the 4th episode, but we're gonna miss it because we're doing this, so we'll talk about it next time. So
my-
there's been 3 episodes of Unidentified. which if you haven't watched it, I recommend watching it. It is pretty interesting. So just to give everybody a background premise of it, Tom DeLonge got together a bunch of ex-government officials and scientists and researchers to put together and force the government to release some classified information about unidentified flying objects. The show focuses on Luis Elizondo, who was the head of ATIP, which is the Advanced Aerial Threat Intervention Program, something like that.
He doesn't
Something
look
like that,
Hispanic, though, does he?
No, but he talks fluent Spanish
Yeah,
when
it's
they're on.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wanted the government to the show emphasizes that he quit in protest, but I think that I read somewhere that the program was shut down due to lack of funding.
Defunded, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
So-
they had $22 million, and from 2000, I believe 8 or 9 to 14, that was their kind of initial window, right, to determine if these were real threats and to gather intel and all that, and it was defunded after that. So
Yeah. So, and I mean that's the big speculation is why was it defunded? You know what I mean? Because this show does come right out of the bat and say, you know, they did get the government to release 3 videos that clearly show some kind of aerial threat, some kind of unidentified flying object. We're not saying aliens. They never say aliens. That's a conclusion you have to kind of leap to on your own if you want it. But the one thing I do like about the show is that they don't come out and say that, and they kind of talk about like, what is this? Is this technology that our government has? Is it a private institution? Is it another government? What is it? Because obviously these things are defying our known laws of physics as they're on the planet,
right?
And doing maneuvers, and we have video of them, which the videos are pretty grainy, but like if you've seen, they do a couple of comparison videos of like, this is what, like, out of an F-18 Hornet, this is what a Russian MiG looks like, and this is what a spy plane looks like, and then they're like, and that's what this looks like,
right.
And it shows like the scaling of it, and you're like, oh, okay, like now I get, like, it shows you like on the screen like how far it is away, and then that's how they can figure out like how big it is in the rangefinder and everything.
Right.
So
It gives you
they're
the heat
seeing-
signature, the IR. All that.
there's no heat. These things have no heat signature. They're 40 feet long, flying in erratic patterons.
No flight surfaces like wings or tails.
nothing.
Or
They say
also-
they look like big flat Tic
Yeah,
Tacs.
Tic-Tac.
Right.
But they
Yeah,
also
there we
brought
go.
in a retired airline pilot that's been doing this shit for like 30 plus years, and I believe that
Commercial and military.
commercial
absolutely.
and military, and they both confirmed exactly what they're seeing, and it's not what they've seen before. It's just all new stuff, and they're just shell shocked as well.
I think that one of the better interviews on there is I forget the guy's name that worked at Boeing Skunk Works that developed the stealth technology, the next gen stealth fighter, and I mean, Luis Elizondo comes out and he tells the people, like, I'm not going to ask you to say anything that's classified or anything like that. And if you don't want to answer, just say. And he asks them about that, and he's like, I'm not going to talk about anything I did at Skunk Works. And so, but he's like, but like, there's these things like
Steve Justice.
Steve Justice. That was his name. So,
That sounds so fake.
so he,
Jesus, Steve Justice here.
This
All
is
right.
Heather Falcon. Coming to you live.
Dirt Diggler.
Dirt
Yeah.
Diggler.
Yeah. So, I mean, when he's looking at it and they're comparing like this thing that may have the capability to move at the speeds that they're talking about.
3,700 miles an hour.
Well, they're talking. Well, at one point they said it was like 48,000 kilometers per second. It dropped from
Right.
30,000 feet to sea level, like it disappeared,
Right.
and it was
Holy
picked up on the radar.
shit.
48,000, like 10 or 12 times the speed of sound. without breaking the sound barrier, without like making a sonic boom.
Well, didn't it go to to the next checkpoint that was just 60 miles away in like 60 seconds or something like that?
Yeah,
that's when the radar was able to retrieve the information. So it might have been there a lot earlier than 60 seconds.
And we're talking like the USS Nimitz is what picked up all this stuff, and it had at the time the most advanced radar in the fleet. Like this was the most advanced radar. And
that's out in production, right?
And what year was this, by the way?
2004.
I want to say 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josh has got notes.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
notes,
sure.
notes
2004.
November 14th.
2004.
Yep.
We're going with the year here.
Well,
So the squadron commander David Fravor has been 18 years flying as squadron commander for the Black Aces. That's who you have looking at that video. That's who actually went down and tried to investigate.
Right.
That's right. They called for the they talked to the radar pilot that called for the intercept.
Right.
And then that's the pilot and their wingman that went down. They're like, holy shit.
Because they were on training.
It's hovering on top of the water. There's something underneath the water and it's churning. And what do they call it? It did transmedium maneuvers where it goes from air to sea. And it was doing like 70 knots underwater. And you can't even get the submarine sonar guys to talk about it. Like the guy that knows them, that knows that they know, he was like, "You're not getting any of them to talk." Like,
so that
I mean, that's the whole thing behind that, right? Like, you don't obviously none of that knowingly is available for us to know.
Oh yeah,
and then you have to look at they're trained. You know, they're like it says in the show, right? These are trained guys with decades of experience. Senior operators that know what they're looking for, and they can't explain this shit. And I have to imagine, and I have to think that if we're not number one in technology, which I think we are,
we're spend enough money on it.
Pretty fucking close to right. So I mean, if we don't have it, I can't imagine anybody else has it.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing.
I would think China would probably have it if we don't have it.
That sounds right.
Nah.
No? They do have a lot of things that we have.
Or the Japanese.
Or at least a knockoff version of it.
Yeah, I mean,
knockoff. Yeah.
You can't doubt that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have the Super Hornets and all this other stuff, and they don't have, they don't have that kind of.
Yeah, but the whole thing, like with that is that like we don't know what kind of tech the government has and things like that. But one of the things that I feel like Tom has reiterated a few times is like, I think that he's right. Like, and what he was trying to do is get this information out there little by little, so it doesn't seem so crazy.
Kind of spoon fed because we need to, because we don't know how we're going to react to all this.
Now the question is,
well, because you get a bunch of because think about it, right? Our view is through movies. Right, it's through entertainment and the arts and everything else, and what we know, what we think we know, right? Yeah. So you're
essentially
right.
Conditioning.
So if he, in his idea, I agree with you, Rob, is perfect. If you can kind of not control that, but if you can kind of put out a softer version of that.
It's a transition, basically, to when I love what he says. It's not this
is based on his book.
Damn it! What it's not the
he has multiple books.
It's damn it,
Super Machines or whatever.
Secret
it's
Machine.
confirmation is what he says.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember in the podcast, he was saying when it comes to all this stuff, like it's not you know what I'm talking? Disclosure. It's not disclosure. It's confirmation. Right. Is what it is. Is what.
So for what purpose though? And
that's the whole thing. It's like my speculation on that is, and this whole like unidentified series and Tom's book Secret Machines. He's had a couple of them, but like I think it's the purpose of it is to prepare the world for like the admission that there are UFOs and the government has been tracking them for a number of years, so that we can demystify that taboo subject. Because in the show they talk about like, you don't report this shit because like you get shamed. You know what I mean? Like that's a very good way to control information at a ground level.
It's like Bob Lazar.
You know what I mean? Like that's what the government does. That's why like right now, like if somebody says, if somebody says, "Oh, I believe in aliens" or whatever, like it carries a stigma with it almost.
You're crazy.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
mind, yeah.
So like, and the cool thing with these videos when they were released is it's not like they were released just to Unidentified and like they're the only ones that have done anything with it. There's been stories in the Washington Post and New York Times. CNN ran a piece about it. Like it was a major deal that the government came out and admitted, yes, there have been UFO sightings. These are legitimate.
We can't explain them.
We can't explain them.
Right.
I think that they waited until they could confirm that they weren't another. See, I don't think they would have released these unless they could confirm that it wasn't another government.
Right.
Once they confirm that it wasn't another government, they're like, fuck it, let's put them out.
Know.
Like, we don't know. So
Yeah.
like little by little, they can spoon feed us that information, and it doesn't seem like right. If you would have released this video 20 years ago, people would have called you crazy. If you would have released it in 2004, people would have been like, the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? This bullshit. Like if you think about it, we've kind of been conditioned to where this is becoming more of a norm.
Well, and you're kind of getting into something that I kind of wanted to bring up, which was there's a real movement right now with cosmologists and particle physicists and just physicists in general, where these guys are selling out stadiums and shit.
Why would a cosmologist cut hair in front of 10,000 people?
No. So there's not cosmetologist, cosmologist. Fucking Bernier. So what these cosmologists are doing is they're selling out these stadiums. You know, Professor Brian Cox.
You're all over his cock.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil
Black
deGrasse
Science
Tyson.
Guy.
They've got all these shows and podcasts. Fuck those
Sinbad.
guys. And all these other things. Wow.
Anybody need a beer?
Please,
I don't want your racist beer.
I wasn't racist. I'm just.
That was beautiful, Jacob.
But yeah, so you've got this movement of these guys bringing up the new their new findings in physics and everything else. I mean,
I think that if you've noticed, like lately, maybe it's just me noticing it, but in the past 3 or 4 years, I've noticed like the past 10 years. So you saw this shift from like kind of the dumbing down of the American culture. Like I feel like we're almost at a point like where everybody got dumbed down so much that now like there's all of a sudden this renaissance of information, and now it used to be cool to be dumb. It used to be cool to be dumb and watch the Kardashians and shit, and like that's it's played out.
I agree. That's
and
a good point.
now it's like, oh, what do you mean you don't know what this is? Like, didn't you go to high school? Oh, now like it's becoming more socially acceptable and cooler to be smart and know what you're talking about.
Right,
knowledgeable. There you go. That's a very good.
But I'd say you'd have like pioneers like Elon Musk and some of these people who are making it cool to be
people like Joe
smart.
Rogan.
But see, the thing is, they're
Rogan
also
for that and all those other podcasts.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that right there, Joe Rogan
gateway.
So here's another
Heavy
thing.
Influence.
Like Joe Rogan, his influence on social media and social politics just by himself, just from his stand-up comedy and his podcast, has become so mainstream. It started with all the bros in their MMA culture wanting to listen to Joe Rogan and stand-up comedy and stuff like that. But stand-up comedy has become such this like great clique of like really smart intellectual comics who make you think on social commentary, and Joe Rogan is latched onto that and brings them on his show, and all of a sudden that becomes cool. They're like, oh, that guy's really funny, so that more people listen to those people, and it's funny, but it's smart funny. You know what I mean? Like you have to really think about it to figure out why it's funny.
Yeah,
so
Joe
it's
Rogan
forcing people
some of those
to
things,
think about things, and then Joe Rogan brings on people that make you think about other things. You know what I mean? That's why he brings on Tom. He brings on Bob Lazar. He he brings on all these things. And what I like, and because like where he started in his beginnings and the audience that he roped in was that Kardashian kind of audience. Like he got them in at the beginning and then slowly started that shift to what his content is. And kind of started revealing what his like If you listen to
Guys,
some of the
try some
earlier
mushrooms
episodes,
with me, you know?
I wanted
Yeah,
to
try some mushrooms.
DMT or whatever. You know what I mean?
expecting
Like,
to do
study
that.
the
And
monkeys,
DMT
yeah.
as
well, that's the whole thing. It's
Eventually.
like he's shifted
Future
the
episode.
conversation.
Right.
He's shifted the conversation away from like he's changed it from. You know, it's not cool to be dumb. You can be a jock and be smart.
Right.
You can read.
Don't be a dumb tool.
Yeah, don't exactly.
Yeah.
Figure
And
some
so-
shit out. Yeah.
Be
and-
independent. Be able to have your own thoughts.
I don't
man.
see how
it's okay.
it's cool to
shit.
be dumb for one.
Well, I haven't ever known.
Well, you're right,
But you know
but-
what? But
Trust me, I
that's
think
the
a lot of
thing.
people do.
But yeah, exactly, like
Yeah.
you don't like when I was in high school. Like I just remember some of the kids being like, "I can't believe you." It was just like frowned upon to be like studious or anything. You know what I mean? But like, and that's dumb. But I think that like I'm saying, like I think that like
More people
there's
are
certain
woke.
things. There's certain things that are shifting that conversation. Joe Rogan,
Sure. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that his contribution to the conversation is
It's
so
a strong
underrated.
platform for whatever he's doing. But
Exactly.
going back to before you spew your load all over that.
That
you know,
Joe Rogan dick. Oh,
No, but
oh,
it's just that people are woke. People are more interested in this. Yeah, I know, right? Interested into the subject, and they're becoming to realize that we're not the only ones here. There's this crazy technology that's unexplained. But they're also shifting UFO. UFO has been known as unidentified flying object for how many years since the beginning of time? But now I guess because more people are more realized about this, they're changing it to like other acronyms like
Aerial threat or something like that.
like UAP,
Yeah.
unidentified
Like aerial
aerial phenomena,
phenomena.
and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
like that,
that's
just
right.
so they can still use that
They're gonna do
lingo.
that.
But hopefully, the people that don't want to go dig more into the papers,
Yeah.
will get lost in the translation.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is like the term UFO has been synonymous with aliens for so long that like you can't use that as a term and have it not be related to aliens. Like even in unidentified, when they talk about it, they don't call them UFOs. They
have to say it so many times. They have to reiterate.
do say they call them they call them unidentified flying objects. They say what they are, or they call them UAPs.
UAPs, yeah.
You know, and it's I think that's good. You know that shift is away from the stigma. You know, getting that stigma away from like aliens. You know, whatever. But because that's the first step we need to do is destigmatize the sightings so that more legitimate sightings are reported and
Like Bigfoot.
investigated.
Like Bigfoot.
Wow.
Yeah,
what I like about the
sure.
show, what I like
Okay,
about the
thanks for the left turn.
right. What I like about the show is that you know, Luis Elizondo, he puts down parameters in that first episode. I don't know if anybody remembers, but he talks about like
he calls them what the
I knew you were going to ask me, but yeah,
There's
there's basically
Joshy.
that's not in my notes. Half my notes are from Brian Cox. But you know,
observables. He calls them
Right,
the observables.
Why is there a nude picture of Brian Cox in your notes?
well, call me
Brian's
Brian
cock.
Cox. Let's figure that out.
Jacob can't help.
It's okay.
Say
He's
that.
only mad because he
Brian
calls me to
Cox.
explain some of these Joe Rogan jokes that he doesn't get.
Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah.
Ah, I see.
You had to have. You
Since I
had to
introduced him
have.
to Joe Rogan.
You had to have.
Can't spell Joe Rogan. But yeah, no. So
some of
I
those
like
jokes
that.
you had to grow up off of food stamps to get. You know?
Right, that's true.
Yeah, you get the Joe Rogaine. for his hair.
Rogan.
I've seen that one.
But no, I like that the show. I like that he sets parameters to it because then when you look at it, you can look at it with an analytical mind and say, and not be so skeptical. You can say, well, yeah, it fits in that, fits in that, fits in that.
Yeah, and as they go through these sightings, they talk about these one or two sightings, and one of the most interesting sightings, to me, is the one where I think it was the second episode. It's called "Raining UFOs" or something like that, and they had this whole fleet of UAPs just materialize off the coast of California, and they're tracking these things, and they're moving so fast they can barely track them. And they all converge on Guadalupe Island off the coast of Mexico, and they go there. In episode 3, they go to Guadalupe Island. They talk to some of the local fishermen, and the local fishermen don't know who these fucking guys are. They see the camera crews or whatever, but they don't tell them like, hey, have you ever seen like flying Tic Tacs or anything? They're just like, they ask these
No,
local.
man, glassing,
They
You guys
well,
seen some aliens?
This is
They're coming off their mushrooms.
this is where that Luis Elizondo's Spanish comes in real handy
There you
because
go,
like
yeah.
Elizondo.
he's Hispanic, so
Sort of.
like they I mean, correct me if I'm wrong,
Nothing
but
wrong
like
with being Hispanic. What do you mean, sort of?
Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, but like
referring to myself,
locals
sort of.
in a sense like that, like they don't trust outsiders, and
No,
like if
right.
a
What
guy
are
comes
they?
in and they're like, hey, you know,
whoa,
Tell
why
us
are you
about
asking
your
him?
tell us about your village,
You can't
Pablo.
ask me.
I know, right? Fuck. Yeah.
you only
Jake's got a
look
village?
you only
And I
look
don't?
Hispanic.
No, you only
Hey,
look.
whoa.
Yeah, 'cause he's asking the guy
Whoa.
that's born and raised in
Menus.
Houston, Texas.
Houston.
Go ahead.
So
bullshit, but
my,
go
my
on.
whole thing
I
is
get
like
it, I get
that built a little bit of
Yeah.
level of trust as he
Right.
goes. So and he's only asking them if it has. Do y'all ever see anything weird? Do you ever see anything odd? Like, what do y'all see odd around here all the time? And then they talk about
So it's
like,
not suggestive, right?
yeah, so it's not suggestive, and they talk about
Kind
you know
of,
they
yeah, vague.
they vaguely talk about
The reason because he spoke Spanish to them, he's like they treated him like he's one of their own.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
got
what
you.
I was getting
got
at.
you. Oh, I got you.
Yeah, but these were I wasn't able to. This is on episode 3, right? This is
Yeah.
like you said they were in they were talking to a tribe, right?
No, not a tribe. It was
it
just
a
some
tribe?
local
It was just
Mexican
local-
fishermen.
Okay,
God
I thought it was a
damn,
tribe.
bro.
Yeah, they have credit cards, dude.
Tribes
have-
there,
they-
dude.
No,
They
Paul's
were-
got
they
him
were
in
credit
fucking
cards.
leaves and throwing spears at fish and shit.
They were wearing North Face jackets and
Fuck
shit.
you. I never seen
It's a
it.
fucking tribe,
I'm
okay?
asking.
It's a North Face
Fuck
tribe.
off.
Chill out.
Not you.
This
I
was
didn't
your
mean to look at you. I meant to look
this
at him
was
when I
your
said that.
homework.
Oh, don't you worry about
You were
it.
supposed to
You
watch
deserve-
these
you-
episodes.
I know, but I didn't see the third one. No, I just didn't see it.
North Face.
I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
Okay, well I'll catch you up. So like they go down there and it's
Other people haven't seen it either.
it's local fishermen. I mean,
Okay,
it's guys
that's
that
it.
do
That's what I was
tour
asking.
boats and stuff
Yeah,
off the
okay,
coast.
that's
and
all you know.
because Guadalupe Island is it's a really good place to catch great white sharks in action. You know what I mean? That's a very good gathering place. There's a marine biologist they talk to that talk about the clear water, but they also talk about there's an underwater Earth electromagnetic phenomenon that they think attracts the great whites there, that they think may also be attracting these UAPs,
UFOs, whatever.
yeah, or it may be caused by them.
Yeah.
I mean, they try not. I like it because they try not to speculate. They don't have a voiceover guy like Ancient Aliens, like you know what I mean. Like Ancient Aliens, like I love that show, but like the voiceover guy kills a lot of that show. You know what I
We're
mean?
gonna also criticize the show too, but the constant fucking repetitiveness and the teasing is like, get to the fucking point. They're dragging it on.
Teasing,
and
I
on.
get it. It's a marketing thing.
I know,
Yeah,
but then
You're
I-
gonna come
I-
back.
but like I
Yeah.
said earlier, it reminded me why I don't watch history channels. Like I hate.
Well, it's
this
not just
fucking
History
teasing.
Channel. I mean,
That's why they do it in the
all-
news
I
and
don't-
everything
all the other
else. They tell
bullshit.
you,
I
hey.
Yeah.
hate it. Just teasing it. But yeah, it's all marketing.
It's like Coast to
Instead,
Coast,
so-
you know, where they cut it off right and coming back after this episode, after these commercials.
assholes. Yeah, that's true.
Everybody
yeah.
does it.
Yeah, that's how they
Well,
hook you.
I understand, but like them in particular, those shows are just such a fucking.
It's like a
tease.
Dragon Ball Z episode. I get
Yeah.
it.
There
Oh,
you go.
fuck yeah, dude.
That's a good
What?
analogy.
It takes 4 episodes for the dude to get charged, and then
Yeah,
the fifth
the
one.
white
Charged?
sweat over his head.
Dude, don't, calm down. Calm down. All right? Your
Alright,
NASA
just
shirt's all
dragging it
freaking out.
I have
Hey.
never seen an episode of Dragon Ball Z.
It's terrible.
Never.
It's terrible.
Well,
Terrible.
sorry.
You get out of your own
Something
studio
like
and you just got here and you can get out too.
You don't have a full beard. Don't talk to me like that.
that. All the lack of hair.
You're
in your
sporting a
face.
Bridgeland shirt, sir.
Whoa, guy.
Well, hey, we don't talk about work.
Not work.
I don't talk about the fucking
not work.
whorehouse you come from. Don't talk about my goddamn.
It's a damn neighborhood.
You know what I work for? I work for myself. Fuck that. I
Jerking
represent
off
how you
is
say
not
you're
a
unemployed,
job.
by
bro.
myself, though.
Weird flex,
Can
bro.
be,
You're
man.
unemployed.
Can be. I mean, but
Offering
he's
my
not getting
services.
paid for it.
So yeah. Back
But
to
anyway, back
topic
to
at hand.
I mean, there's a lot of these guys that they have on this show. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, the qualifications of the people that are on there seems to be. I mean, from a layman, like for me, like it seems to be like the guy's qualifications are pretty good. And Luis Elizondo talks about like these people that they're interviewing. They're like, you don't get to where he was. like the radar operator. He was like, yeah, I was at Top Gun. It's like, oh, you trained with the Top Gun pilots. He's like, yeah, we're the best of the best. Mm-hmm. Okay, so everybody knows what Top Gun is. You know what I mean?
Tom Cruise.
So
The movie, yeah.
Jake doesn't watch those movies.
Thank you, sir.
Well, why not?
Go ahead.
Well, how do you anyway? Because they're not going to let a Mexican guy
That's
fly.
a whole no. That's a whole other episode.
That's why Jacob doesn't watch it.
Doesn't watch Tom Cruise
He doesn't watch Tom Cruise
ever. He literally
what's up with
gave me
Tom
Minority
Cruise?
Report on DVD.
What's wrong with Tom Cruise?
You gave away a movie?
I'm not a
Scientology
big Tom
aside,
Cruise fan.
what's wrong
Is
with
it
Tom
the
Cruise?
tooth in the middle of his face?
No, it's because he was all
It's all
obsessed with
centered.
Katie Holmes. And
When he stood on Oprah's couch, that really
that
offended
rubbed you
Pablo.
off.
It's the Scientology thing, isn't it?
that too.
That
Yeah,
too. He's a
but-
dick.
That shit don't
Great
matter.
actor, but he's a
Divorced
dick.
yourself
You
from
like what you like.
Scientology and
Don't
just he's
I
an
mean, if you
alright
like
guy.
Scientology, great, but don't force feed it to
No, if you like
No,
Scientology,
I
go
don't.
jump off a
We can
cliff
do
with
another. We can do
electromagnetic
another.
field.
We
I
can
don't
do
want
another.
spam, motherfucker. We are not doing a Scientology episode.
If you
don't
like
want
that
my I
stuff,
don't want
go
my-
jump off a
I
cliff
don't want
into an
them to bleed
electromagnetic
my-
field. Is what I'm saying.
The printer station at home. Fucking assholes.
No, I mean, like, but Leah Remini's doing that, like that expose on Scientology
Yeah, but
and
these
stuff.
motherfuckers go.
yeah.
They go for
Stacey
anybody.
Carosi,
Doesn't matter.
everyone.
I don't give a shit how small.
I believe she went to the
time
South
operation
Harmon
we are. They will
Institute of
fucking hunt us
Technology.
down.
Hey, hold on. I'm only
I'm
gonna
serious. I'm serious. They will hunt us down if we do something. I don't give a shit how small we are in an operation. They will fucking come after us.
Say let's dance.
Man,
Yeah.
Say that.
Let's
No,
tango.
there's no
Fucking-
such thing as bad press, baby. I'm
That's
down.
right. Let's tango, baby.
You want to go L. Ron Hubbard's old people? They go right ahead.
Talking about the author or the science fiction
yeah,
author
the Pulp
or
Fiction author or the guy who
the
created
actual
this
the father of Scientology.
Yeah,
L. Ron
The guy-
Hubbard?
That guy actually created. He actually lived one of his Pulp Fictions, his shitty Pulp Fictions, and he made money off of it. But we're veering off big time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
back
Go
to
on.
back to Unidentified. So
Yes, sir.
the whole gist of the show is kind of it's all predicated on trying to figure out, like, they're trying to do research on, like, just what these were, who reported on them, why they reported on them, what they really are.
Well, so try to get an explanation, right? I mean, you talked about their years of experience, their years of qualifications,
Right.
and things like that. I mean, that's
Has this been done before, though?
Well, not to this level, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
You've
I
got
think
these,
that like this is the first time I've seen like this caliber of
Organization
qualification
and
organization, and I think that like you couldn't have this honestly without Tom. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Well, yeah, I
they
know that.
kind
string a
of
lot of this
But a
together.
guy
Yeah.
named Stephen Greer was part of the Disclosure Project that happened maybe about 10, 15 years ago.
Was
What
he
is the Disclosure Project?
The gentleman with the glasses and
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
So he did a press conference and he brought up a lot of ex-military and higher ups, just like what they're doing right now, and they did their own little testimony and stuff. But Stephen Greer kind of went off the whim, and Alex Jones did kind
Yeah,
of.
see, that's
A
the
little
problem.
bit.
What happened
Well,
to him?
no.
What do you mean, Alex
He's
Jones,
just
though?
so he's just so hardcore into it that people look like it's kind of unbelievable now how. Passionate you are, and when Joe Rogan did the Tom DeLonge
hold on a
thing.
second. Hold on, wait. He's gone so far past passion. I didn't think he can go like he's like too far in the deep end. Like you think people
Well,
were.
whenever you're doing something like that, you're
or
already
his
dancing on a
reputation has,
tightrope,
preceded
right?
him almost.
well,
or-
what was his whole deal? Like Tom's whole deal was like he was a UFO researcher. So
Well,
was
see,
Stephen
well,
Greer. Like, what was his whole
It's very
deal?
similar to what. Oh, go on.
Yeah,
though.
What was his
I'm
background?
sorry.
UFOologist, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
ufologist?
Well, like Jacob
Ufologist,
said,
yeah.
Jacob was saying like there was a disclosure project like 15, maybe a little bit more years ago. Like it brought a bunch of people together, like
Military.
It's very similar to what Tom DeLonge's doing, but I don't think it's not for nothing because like when people do that, like it's like stepping stones towards what
in the
everybody.
right
all those,
direction.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just heading towards the right. Even failure or not, it's all.
Good
It's
point.
not for nothing. It's
Good point,
it's
yeah.
all. Working its way up slowly, step by step, towards whatever it's going to take to get this, like he calls it, Tom
Yeah.
DeLonge confirmation.
Yeah.
So I
And
think that
yeah.
like. Let's go around the table and
gave up, Rob?
get your opinions. No. Like because it's basically like we're talking about the same topic, but about standing up.
I'm
you too, Josh.
Sell out.
I just noticed that.
I'm pretty fat, and I just was like, "Oh man, I saw you sitting down. I was like, my feet are starting to bother me."
Yeah, my feet have bothered me all fucking
So,
week.
anyway, let's do round robin, and just talk about this. So, do you think that it is better to slowly release information to confirm unidentified aerial phenomenon that are linked. Like, let's just equivalate this to, like, let's say that eventually this leads to the confirmation of extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it better to do like this slowly, or would it be better to just rip the Band-Aid off and have a press conference and say, like, yeah, we've been covering all this shit up. Like, here's all this information. Sort through it on your own time.
Well, I think it's great to do it slowly. And the reason why is because to the people that were all hardcore into Marvel and DC, going back to the pop culture reference of, this podcast, when people were all into that, oh, you're a fucking nerd, you're a geek, what the fuck are you doing? Now they're making cartoons and now they're making movies and everybody's like, oh, this is fucking great. I want to geek out now, which is fucking bullshit,
I love your frustration, Jacob. I always hear this all the time.
But you can see it on his face.
Great.
It's beautiful.
They had to wait
on.
for, Michael Keaton's Batman. They had to wait for, even Adam West, I guess, right? But, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and then everybody was loving this shit. And now you have 60-year-old moms that are loving this shit, and this is great. I mean, it's a smooth transition to that, and I think what they're doing and what Stephen Greer and what Tom DeLonge and his crew,
that's a pretty good analogy.
That's a great transition for everyone, and it needs to get out. I want to know what the hell's going on, but I get why they're not fucking unzipping the pants and whipping the cock out, because maybe the technology is going to fuck up the world.
Oh,
Kim Jong Un's gonna take this technology and it's mine,
Yeah.
Well, so here's my question. Sorry, you had
I'm done.
No. Let's keep it going. Let's not kick the conversation back to me, Josh.
Right. So it's a two-prong approach, right? Because I can talk to you and we can have a conversation where I can make points, you can make points, so we can do that. When you're talking about mass information, like what Tom is trying to do, I think he's going about it the complete right way, because I feel like if you don't want to let too much out, but it's okay to say, yeah, we can't explain this shit. I don't know. We really can't explain this shit. But at the same time, you're going to have people who, because you're going to have that herd mentality, right? Where people are going to go.
One of my favorite quotes that relates to this is from Men in Black, the original one, where Will Smith is like, why all the big cover up? People are smart. And Tommy Lee Jones goes, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals, and you know it.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And so that's the thing. So, and we're at a point right now where, we're going to assume a lot.
Minus the anti-vaxxers and flat earth people.
Right. Minus those people. Those people are terrible. Get off my playground. But
unless you listen to this podcast.
No. Get off my playground. No. But I will say this. If you're the problem with it is, and something that we have to realize, and I think something Tom is trying to address with all of this, with what he's trying to create is okay, so if I told you right now, today, extraterrestrials were coming here, stealing resources and bouncing, fuck you going to do about it? Because we don't have anything that can, A, detect them most of the time, and B, stop them. So,
yeah,
people are going to cause hysteria for no fucking reason. So, to the masses, exactly to Jake's point with this whole DC and Marvel thing, that's how you get that out there. You slowly integrate people into this, and I agree with that. For the masses, my short answer is I agree with it for the masses.
Yeah. Paul, what do you think?
Well, I don't know, try to beat around the bush, but you guys pretty much said a lot of things. I agree, yeah, slow, and just make sure to be understood. Just in a way that Tom wants to fashion, like I guess, deliver all this information, because it's a scary fucking thought. We could possibly be in a transition to where, how, like we were saying earlier, Rob, about like how what people say like about aliens and this and that, like you're deemed crazy and a lunatic and whatnot. We might be alive to where that might not. It's like it's gonna be acceptable. Like it's almost like I'm trying to think of another example, like how to, like something that there's plenty of things that back then, like especially like being gay, it was hard.
That was hard for you,
had to be
Paul.
hide, but now it's all now it's more accepted. People are open about it.
Yeah, once you take that first step into social equality,
I think
it's like a stack. It's like a house of cards. It just slowly everything starts coming down.
It'll just. But I think it'll we'll get to a time to where like it'll just I don't know like we'll be like how Jacob like we used to think like man we what if, but I think we'll know maybe in our lifetime that we'll know for sure that there is other life forms and there is they will tell us. I really do think.
Well, I think that so piggybacking off of that, to my opinion on this, I think that the reason that this is happening now is because they do exist, and I think that they know that it's inevitable and it's soon that it's going to present itself in a way that they can't cover up anymore. Like they've gotten to the point where it's like, look, we can't shield the Earth or our population from this anymore. Like there's some event coming that they've either, noticed or speculated on, or something that they're still hiding, that they're like, look, we can't hide behind this shield of mystery and like shielding it from the public anymore. Like it's gonna be, we can either make people understanding of it now, or it's gonna be a bunch of rednecks with guns dragging aliens behind trucks or something like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like, it's gonna be, what's that fucking movie with Sholto Copley with the alien deal in South Africa?
District 9?
District 9. It's gonna be like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
Ultra
if
District 9.
if they just showed up like as refugees from a planet, like nobody in America or on Earth would be understanding of that at all.
Exactly.
Get off of my planet. You know what I mean? Like,
but
like,
you starting a perfect. Sorry to just interrupt, but that's a perfect movie for. That's why I love the movie. The movie seems such it's fake. Obviously, it's science fiction, but for a science fiction movie, it seems so convincing that if a situation was to arise like that, that's how it seemed like it would play. If it was just shoved in their faces just like that, no. And I think
that's one of those movies
is going to happen.
Exactly, and I think that's why they made that movie.
Yeah,
is because like it's they're trying to make a lesson. Like, we need to not do this.
Yeah,
like this is what's going to happen.
Like separating the families at the border, right? Yeah, I got you,
dude. They're fine. They have food and water and. They're good.
Like a bowl of food and kibble.
Hey, you know what? They're not American citizens.
It's more than they're getting.
We'll get. That's politics. We're not getting into.
We're not getting that.
Politics.
But I do want to discuss. how the math.
Alien babies. All right.
I do want to discuss how the math checks out.
The other aliens,
if I could, real quick.
Yeah. Let's go through the.
Go on.
So let's go through the math.
Hold on. Before we get to the math thing, before I forget about it, I want to bring up one thing. Because I think that it equivalates, and I don't know if they'll bring it up in Unidentified, but I'm just speculating here a little bit. But do you remember back in, I don't remember when it was, the 40s, what they call the Battle of Los Angeles?
Yeah, the radio.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a radio.
No.
That was
real. That was. I'm sorry.
This was real. There
was a movie based on it too. The one that came
with Aaron Eckhart. Yeah. But
Two-Face?
I mean, there was an incident that there was multiple UAPs and UFOs spotted over Los Angeles, to the point where the National Guard and the Army opened fire on these things over the city of Los Angeles. There were multiple, thousands, hundreds, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of sightings all over the city of aerial phenomenon, to the point where it was confirmed enough to higher levels of government where they opened fire over the city of Los Angeles for a half hour. They were shooting at things.
Holy
and then the government
shit.
said, oh, we made a mistake. It was a radar malfunction.
So is that where the movie kind of comes from? It's kind of rooted from that.
I think so, yeah.
Interesting.
But
actual movie around that time?
like the whole, what gets me is like when they talk about in Unidentified this fleet of UAPs materializing just off the coast of LA and then heading to Guadalupe Island, like that's in the same hotbed spot that the Battle of Los Angeles over the streets of the city of Los Angeles happened in the 30s or 40s, whenever it was. So like this is all the same area, and like
they want the gold.
The few things. This is not Cowboys and Aliens, dude.
Yeah. There's Mariana's Trench right there. There's all kinds of shit.
Like it's it's one of those things, like, it really makes you think, like, that's kind of like between, Roswell, Vegas, LA, and Guadalupe Island. That's kind of like a hotbed spot.
Like Phoenix, lights over Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be something. It can't just be coincidence. You know what I mean?
Good point. Yeah.
So anyway, Josh, let's.
Could that be the reason why the Los Alamos was there, and Area 51? It's right there.
Maybe.
Like I don't know.
But there's speculation. I mean, of course, there's speculation everywhere.
Los Alamos is there because they built Los Alamos in the middle of the desert in case they fucked up.
Right.
It was, number one, it was hard to get to. They could see all the way around. There was no sneaking into it. And if they fucked up, there was nothing around. They just killed themselves.
I'm sure they could do that up in Montana as well.
I didn't know that. Damn, that's crazy.
No, not without impact to the environment.
The soil in Montana is too hard.
They gave the fucking Indians the land over there. They can't touch that, right?
Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah. Well, but plus,
got a pipeline going in there.
I mean, the great Indians. I'm sorry,
Plus,
not fucking Indians. I respect them.
Well,
can I get a beer, please?
New Mexico and Arizona, the ground's a lot softer than it is in Montana. It's all rock.
Interesting.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Joshy.
No, you're good. So I just wanted to break this down. Just mathematically.
I'm listening.
Right. So just mathematically. So let's talk about this. There are 20 billion
blue cans,
Earth-like planets
blue cans.
in the observable.
Just grab that whole thing.
Right. So in the observable universe, 20 billion Earth-like planets.
Speculation only.
No. They use the Sloan Digital Sky Survey method to come up with
Compliments
that
to Brian
number.
Lenhart for those, by the way.
Yeah, is this the Dallas one, right?
Bri.
No, it's Conroe, boy.
Appreciate it, Brian. Is
Thanks,
that
Bri.
from
Brian? Yeah.
Bri.
Is that from
just said
Aquaman
Brian.
Conroe edition? So
Conroe.
so they used the Sloan Digital Sky Survey to come up with that number.
Okay.
There's also the universe, the known universe is 13.8 billion years old.
The universe. Oh.
Because we can measure the distance the universe is going away from us, thus we can capture that backward measurement like that.
Oh.
So, that being said, with that many Earth-like planets and us only being around for, give me some numbers, guys. How long you guys think?
200,000, right? That we
Yeah,
said?
about 200,000 years, humans.
Something like that. So even if you
back.
go back conservatively and you say we've had science for, 500 years with like Copernicus and all that.
Yeah.
Copernicus.
We've only had what we consider science for 500 years. Now, 13.8 billion years old. So the math checks out to there being many more Earth-like planets with the same conditions, the same environments, all of that, and B, a race or another group of whatevers that have evolved and had, like, let's say even a million years head start on us.
Jesus,
What could we do with a million-year head start?
Can you imagine
on other people?
Think of where we're at. What could we do with a 10,000-year head start?
Well, right.
I mean,
it begs the point. It begs the point when you drive. Let's say you walk, like when you walk down your driveway, you don't pay attention to each individual blade of grass, right? Because it's insignificant.
Yeah, a boot has no quarrel with an ant.
Hey, man. So that being said, there's a serious argument, and imagine. So we have this 10,000 to 1 million year leap on somebody. Do you think they would be able to detect us if we didn't want them to?
Well, there's
a lot of stuff in there.
So here's another argument to that. Like that's keeping on the same plane, but Carl Sagan makes a very good. There's a video on YouTube, and we've mentioned it before a few times. Well, where Carl Sagan explains kind of dimensions and what they mean and the perception of dimensions, and basically he says you really can only think of like we're three-dimensional beings, right.
So that's all we can comprehend, right?
That's what we can comprehend. We can look at a piece of paper, and he uses cardboard construction paper cutouts, and he's like, imagine you're a 2D being, two-dimensional, left and right axis only, no vertical, zero vertical.
A cartoon.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but like,
2D,
let's say,
yeah, just
like you're looking,
straight
like
up.
if you're looking down on a 2D,
It's just a thin line. There's no depth to it, basically, right?
yeah, there's no
It's a 2D.
depth. So if you
Yeah.
look down on it, like if you're looking down on it, all you would see is,
Yeah.
you know, like you would see, like if you took one slice of like a house, so you would see like the walls, and you would see like one slice of, you know what I mean?
Right.
From that perspective of that 2D being, everything is normal to them. That's all they know. That's all they can perceive. It's their 2 dimensions.
Futurama
Now,
definitely covered this.
What
Yeah,
happens? What happens when a
crazy.
3-dimensional being interacts with that? What does that look like to the 2-dimensional being?
Yeah,
and
that's
Carl Sagan talks about like sticking his finger in that house. What that would look like to that 2-dimensional being? You know what I mean? Like what would like it just appearing out of nowhere and you know moving in and out of its plane of existence
Right. Like fucking
because
magic.
that 2D being can't perceive that third dimension.
I'm pretty sure they
it's all
freak the fuck
perception.
out.
This is exactly where it goes, and that's what he talks about. The same thing is possible with 4th dimensional beings. If there are 4th dimensional beings, the way that they perceive their dimension and their dimensions that they live in is one way, but as a 3-dimensional being, we can't perceive that.
Yeah.
There's no way for us to be able to comprehend their interaction with us. And
There's
that
a
could
movie
be
that's kind of close. They got it close. It's a Pixar film or Disney film. I forgot. That got 4D kind of close. Like if you want the closest perception to 4D of what we can perceive as 4D. I forgot what movie it is. It's a Disney.
Interstellar gets a
Yeah.
real.
They get a
Interstellar
good
does a
point,
real,
yeah.
a decent job.
They
at
sell
it.
it.
So,
They
I mean,
sell it. Yeah.
There's a Disney or Pixar film. I
So
forgot.
from what you're saying, you know, well, going back to what Bob Lazar was saying, they found his element 115. Well,
Oh yeah, let's start with that because I don't know about this.
so they said that element 115 is what fuels the spacecraft. Could fuel, right? But think about it. There are people like, well, these aliens are well advanced than us, and you know, it's very possible. But what if 115 is? They find that everywhere on their planet, so they start their engineering base around that type of fuel. They come to Earth and it's like, oh, these motherfuckers burn shit and spit shit out of their fucking muffler to make shit go. That's fascinating. So it's all about perception.
Exactly.
So we don't know what a 4D being will look at us, you
Yeah.
know, and then us look
Yeah.
at the
It's
2D.
yeah.
So that's,
or
it's
even
valid for sure.
even as the other, you know, the other point to that is like on Earth we're carbon-based life forms. Like there could be life forms on other planets that are silicone-based or you know things like
exactly.
that. You know, like there was a Reddit post that I read a long time ago and it was super fascinating to me. But you know, if you think about like what if to everything else, all other alien life form, oxygen is one of these super destructive elements. If you really think about it, like oxygen,
Right.
it oxidizes steel. I mean, it burns.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all these.
wounds and shit. We're open.
You leave
Yeah,
your barbecue
so-
pit open for
so
X
this
amount of
is-
minutes. That's just going to burn the shit out of your meat.
So like here's another thing. It's like in this article that this guy penned, he was like, what if oxygen is a poison to everything else, but we use it to survive?
Just like
Ooh, that's
water
So,
and
like,
the
yeah.
fish.
So what if aliens come to Earth and they're like, look at the death breathers. You know, these people,
Yeah.
this species,
that's- wow.
everything on this planet breathes oxygen, and it's a super destructive element.
I was just gonna say
everywhere else,
Good
but
point.
it does
But
destroy.
That's
okay, well, but I was just, I mean, like, I thought, like, from what I heard, from what I know, based, you know, in science, they say, without water isn't life. It's that simple, like, isn't it? Or is there
No.
possibility?
So carbon-based life
So
form.
carbon-based
Yes.
life
Okay, so
form.
that's based on the life
But it's the most
form, though.
abundant.
Yeah.
So there's already possible, like you said earlier. What'd you say? What kind of other base?
Silicone.
Like, silicone,
You know,
yeah. Like
I
it could
mean,
be, yeah. Okay, yeah.
we don't know.
It's just based
it-
on the environment, depending on what they can. What
Yeah.
that organism is.
We
or
know
what
that-
the environment it can thrive
Right.
on.
We
and
know
whatnot.
that life on Earth evolved as a carbon-based life.
Okay.
But like if you had another element that it was based on, that it was raised on, it could develop a different way. And that's another thing is like in the same Reddit post that I read, the guy postulates like
fucking
if
love
oxygen
Reddit.
if oxygen is a poison, maybe that explains why we age and die, because it's slowly killing us.
Interesting.
You know what I
that's
mean?
True.
I mean, it's a theory.
So
I mean, but it has a lot of basis in fact as a theory, though, because like our blood is red because it oxygenates.
right, because it's blue when it's in your veins, or purple, whatever. And it comes
But
out.
yeah, and the iron in your blood is what turns red. It oxidizes and breaks it down. Oxygen is the base for, like, if you know anything about chemistry, like oxygen is a highly reactive element, and it's like, I don't know, like I feel like there's a lot of it was a very
They killed Jaws with it.
you're onto something. It did go Jaws.
break me off one of those.
You're onto something, man.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's why other alien life doesn't. You know, it's kind of like
They
the
don't come here,
Kryptonians.
like it's kryptonite to them.
Yeah, like they
basically.
can't be in our atmosphere.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the
because
problem-
it'll
thinking.
kill most anything else.
But I'll
That's a
say
good
this: that my
fucking,
only
Yeah.
my only argument to that, or
theory.
my only problem with that is if I could travel safely, figure out travel to where I could go to the speed of light and get to Earth.
you have to go faster than the speed of light.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If I could figure out that, I'm pretty sure I could figure out a fucking astronaut suit to breathe with my people down here. I'm just saying,
back
like,
in earlier about like the whole
Well, they say the
whole
great-
hammer thing. Like if they
have the technology to get here, I promise you they have the technology
Right,
to
yeah, I agree
survive
with
space
that.
and other
They
atmospheres.
say grays
Different
are
environments.
an actual, like a suit, an astronaut suit. The
Right,
gray
Yeah,
aliens.
I like that
Poopa
theory, though.
fucking,
I like that theory.
Fire
But
in the Sky.
that Fire in the Sky kind of proves, well,
Yeah.
not proves it, but they play on that theory.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Chariots. I mean, Eric von Däniken talks about that in Chariots of the God.
Oh, okay, I didn't
I
know.
mean,
No
oh
shit.
yeah, he speculates on that all the time. Like, if aliens had come to Earth back then, what would, you know, we're perceiving these things as gods, you know, like, and people are seeing these things and they're thinking they're aliens. You know, that's one of the things that like Independence Day got. Well, I think that they got right. I mean, it was like
a biological
Yeah, it was
suit,
like
right.
some kind of, you know, biological containment suit that
You would need it for space travel. Is
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. Right, absolutely.
Like Venom needs a host, you know.
Totally.
yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
exactly.
But you know,
Well,
I just want to touch on this topic. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I said this a long time ago in a few previous episodes. Like, you know,
Some
100,
more bullshit.
150 years ago, we're on the wheel, right? And that's the premise of the technology that we had
150 years ago,
200 years ago. You know what I mean?
more than
The
200 years ago.
transition of
Way more
automobiles
than
is like in the early 1900s.
Well, I'm trying to say
but
within
yeah,
150
either way.
years that the advancement of technology has been so superior that it's insane. Even back, you know, going 20 years back.
That's
where we're at
yeah.
right now. But what
That's- remember, I brought that up. You know, the pace of technology was what was on a very linear scale up until the Roswell crash,
Exactly.
and then it became an exponential upward motion.
So what I was trying to say is that our only source of technology that we had was probably
Yeah.
the fucking wheel 150 years ago is what I'm trying to get at.
But-
And then it kind of stopped when we developed, you know, like the cars and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to get at is that I can't win fucking the lottery for shit, right? No good luck happens to me. What are the
if it wasn't
chances?
for bad luck, you wouldn't have no luck at all.
Weird flex, bro.
But what are the chances that I am actually living this shit out of the millions of years, the thousands of years that we've been in existence, right?
Yeah, I think
What
about
are the
how lucky
we are? We're actually seeing the advancement of technology in
Yeah.
this small plane that we're
Man,
living in.
I mean, honestly,
just gonna-
Well, but
I
if you
think
look at
we're
other
just
people
lucky,
too,
man.
yeah, because if you look at other
how
people
cruel
too,
life can be.
look at people
we're
who are like
lucky.
100
Or are
years
we
old.
reborn
We're
each other,
the cycle of
or
life.
do we like reborn again?
I don't know.
we're not- are we
Reincarnation.
I know, but
I don't-
I'm just saying that. I mean, are we really that lucky? Or we're just right now. We're just living
could be
it
in a
because you know when we
program,
die,
you know,
I'm gonna be born again. I don't know. It's
Hey,
just,
if you're
I'm
going
just
to
saying.
know.
sleep, we could talk about DMT.
Anything
and going
about
to
That's a different
too, 'cause I'm
podcast
getting into
show.
that.
But it's just a
You
tripped
just
out
jumped
thing,
off
dude.
the fucking deep
I
end
know.
on that.
This is
But-
a tripped out thing. The technology
but,
we're at.
yeah,
Like,
I
look at this
understand,
fucking
yeah.
real podcast.
You have to write
right
that.
now.
You're gonna write that in your Lisa Frank
technology
diary, but
is accelerating at a point. It's so fast, like things are becoming obsolete quicker and quicker.
To us
I was
now.
thinking about this today. I kind of had like a thought, like just thoughts in my head. Just you know how I am. I think, and
yeah.
things are like it's
Does it
good
hurt?
that things are happening faster and faster, right? But the problem is because of the convenience of technology, things are happening faster and faster. Jobs are seems like jobs are more efficient and becoming shorter and shorter. What used to take 10 months is now taking 5 months because of technology. It's gotten better and better. So in a sense, it's kind of almost threatening the job security, depending on your job.
Because you'll have you'll have flux, you'll have transitions.
I know, but it's rough. But I'm just saying, but because of that technology, it keeps cutting things in half so fucking quick, and that's what they're trying to talk about. The whole I'm veering off, but the whole just because of automation and just technology, robots are gonna take our jobs. And that's a different fucking topic.
Well, we can engineer this fucking the spacecraft. If I can get halfway around the world in like 2 minutes, would you want that? Everybody's going to want that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
so everybody wants.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's the downfall, though. Like it's kind of like you gotta have a balance,
I'll take the downfall,
but you gotta have a balance when it comes to these things. Like you're gonna have severe. I always forget its ramifications
that's it.
Ramifications.
There's ramifications, and there's also what's the other one?
And a snap.
Always forget. Yeah, I could do it.
You can't do that?
Not that loud. Paul has a nice snap.
Damn,
that's
Jinx,
pretty loud
baby.
too. Yeah,
Jinx. Yeah, but anyway, because of that technology, I don't know, we'll just it's just how things go. We'll just see how it is.
Well, but then some technology creates more jobs and creates other things,
but it also like I said, in bounce and ebb and flow, it also causes problems. But we figure out as we go. That's what I'm saying. It's just. But that I think that the acceleration.
My concern, my biggest concern is
stop it.
My biggest concern with the advancement of technology at the rate that we're going is it's created. It's the advancement of technology now has created the dumbing down of people because they feel like they feel like they can research themselves better than somebody who studied. They feel like they can read something that somebody else studied and know of the subject better than somebody who has done the frontline studying of the subject. Hold on. Let me finish this. Let me finish this thought. It's like this is what I equivalate it to, and I always go back to the anti-vaxxer movement and the flat earthers because those are the most ridiculous things. I equivalate it to this. I'm in the automotive industry. It's like if somebody spent an afternoon on YouTube and Reddit, and conspiracy theory websites about how cars worked, and then their car broke down, and then I told them very quickly, no, that if they came to me and was like, this is some out of left field fucking no, this is what I think is wrong with my car, and I'm like, no, this is what's wrong with your car.
They know your job better than you know your job.
Exactly, because they've watched a couple of YouTube videos and read some articles. You know what I mean? Yeah. They have no real world experience in doing any of that stuff and figuring out how things work for themselves.
But it's just benefits to that, though. Because
yes and no, because everybody's a doctor. They get on WebMD, and I'm dying of cancer or cystic fibrosis.
Podcast research, videography research.
I get that, but
it's the intent of what you do with that knowledge and how you search and what you do with it.
But it's dangerous because as a society, there are certain things that are in place that we have as a society that shield us.
Hey, man, survival of the fittest, Darwin. What do you want?
But you can't.
I hate to say it, but it's
you can't stop progress either. But that's not
freedom.
Okay, let me tell you. I'm going to equivalent. I'm just going to take it back. I'm going to take it back just to the anti-vax movement.
Okay,
because if you choose not to vaccinate your kids,
get the fuck out of my playground.
Their argument is always, it's my child. I can do what I want. Fuck you, because that's not the case. Because we have vaccines as it's a herd mentality. It's you vaccinate the people that can take the vaccination. You eradicate the disease because there are people that can't have the vaccination that will die from that disease. So you use it as a shield. Penn and Teller have you seen that Penn and Teller video?
Yeah, because then you start
they talk about vaccinations shield. The strong take the vaccinations, and it becomes almost a shield for that disease, and it eradicates that disease from a society. When you stop vaccinating kids, even though you're like, well, nobody's died of measles in 50 years. Why do we have to have a vaccine for measles anymore? The disease didn't go away. It's still out there.
And there was a breakout of measles.
There's multiple breakouts.
And those probably non-vaxxers, right?
And what happens is
somebody's
that
kid died because other people...
Infants that aren't old enough to receive the vaccine yet,
die.
Or they're the ones that die. It's not your kid that gets the measles and is over it in a couple of weeks and it sucks. It's the infant that couldn't get the vaccine that's 6 months old that fucking dies. And that's why we have vaccines as a society as a whole. And it's this dumbing down of scientific evidence. Like, people don't believe it, so they don't understand it, so they choose not to believe it.
What's your take on the flu shot?
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm kind of dumbing down.
Rob just said?
Well, I thought we're in a renaissance here.
But it's coming back. Like, I know that's just one specific thing.
Okay, well, I'm trying to see what's your beef with the freedom of the internet. I understand that there's a lot of misinformation.
That's the problem. There's too much misinformation on the internet.
Well, then that's when people take personal responsibility. You need to learn and fucking look at your sources.
Yeah,
make sure they're back.
I agree with
but
you.
People
but
aren't in its perspective.
I told you, Rob. Survival of the fittest. Well, people need. I'm sorry, people don't.
But here's the other part about that.
I don't disagree
with
you.
How to use it correctly.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
That's what I'm saying.
You're saying survival of the fittest. Your argument is fuck them. If they're too stupid to figure it out and they kill themselves because of it, the strong will survive and we'll weed these people out.
That's what's been going on. But,
okay. So, but my question, here's what I postulate back to you though. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say that the next big movement is against school or education or formal education in general.
Yeah,
that's the next big thing. Who does that affect?
Okay,
if you choose,
what do you propose to do, with all these people that to shield them from not hurting themselves with this internet that we have? What do we do then? Are we saying censorship?
No, I'm not saying censorship. I'm just saying it needs to be
more aware.
People need to be educated.
Yeah, because if you watch a video on how to change your bulb in your TV and it helps you, that's great. But I don't know that I would trust let me YouTube tracheotomy. Yeah, no, I'm not going to fucking do that.
Well,
but there's some people that will.
Well, what's crazy is that I was at Walmart earlier.
See, we're also go ahead.
No, I was at Walmart earlier, and then I was parked, and I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and this chick comes out of Walmart, nose deep in her fucking phone.
Yeah,
gets a cart, goes back to her car, still nose deep in her phone. Fucking puts return bags because she's returning some shit, and goes to Walmart, the entrance doors, still nose deep in her fucking phone, not looking up once, and I'm just looking at her.
You could have been a total predator.
Exactly. And it's like, I wanted her to see if she's going to lock eyes on me. She never did. She didn't lock eyes with anybody. A fucking Humvee could have ran her over. She's so nose deep in her phone.
I think what Josh was getting at was somebody could have just
craving stimulation,
followed her home and
that too, man.
She would have not noticed.
And anything's possible. See, that's the kind of shit that scares me because those same drivers.
Which Walmart was this?
By my house. But that same person's going to get behind the wheel, nose deep in her phone, and drive her fucking car.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing that any of these things.
But see, that's humans create stimulation all the time. That's just stimulating as fuck. Of course, we're going to look at it and do that. That's on them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. Yeah.
Okay, but we all this is. Very distracting for me.
I get
especially
that.
for me.
Okay, hold on. So let me just put it this way. Let me just put it like this. You're saying your whole deal is fuck them.
It's not necessarily fuck them. It's more like personal responsibility.
Yeah, I get that, but nobody has personal responsibility. So as a society, we have to step in and say.
I didn't have it at first, and I just learned it on my own. I'm sorry.
Okay, but what if you never had the chance to learn that because some drunk asshole was on their phone and fucking crashed into you?
Well, I'm not saying
that's not your fault if you already had your personal.
I'm not saying
so that's why we have laws as a society.
But I'm just saying it's still not. It's.
This is great. Hey, next time I'm
not saying that there shouldn't be education. Yeah, there should be.
You
I'm
are
just
the
saying,
father, sir.
But I still think personal responsibility is just. I don't know. I thought we learned that in grade school, but yeah, some people don't have the opportunity.
No.
Okay, but some people don't have the opportunity. I understand that, but it took me a long time to fucking do it. And I eventually did it.
Did I see that viral video of?
I understand. Some people are just.
Hold on. Did y'all see that viral video of all those people fighting at a baseball game with a
No.
13-year-old umpire running the fucking game?
Wait,
13-year-old, yeah, it was a kid's baseball game. 13-year-old umpire obviously did a bad call, and then like these parents are fighting.
What?
Well, I'm just saying,
Hold on. They're not fighting at the umpire.
No, they're fighting against the other parents, but like it's
the
like
parents, the kids umpire
had
umpires.
These kids had kids, and you know that they ball game.
Yeah.
This is the type of people that are out there on the roads. You know, they have no sense. So I mean, they're not going to have any sense of staying away from social media or the technology. It's just
they're human beings. They just create that stimulation they should be educated. And you know, like,
and would.
But what's considered education?
It's only been like, hold on, wait. Smartphones. This is the problem. That's what it is mainly, and whatever leads to it, that's inside it. Okay, that was in 2007. It's only been 12 years. It's in early stages. I think eventually, it's just like everything. It's just a transition. This is so new. It's so adolescent that we don't know. Like we're still like there wasn't always texting laws against texting, right? Well, eventually it happened.
We're way off fucking
okay,
topic.
Yeah, we're going way off topic. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I am anymore.
To answer your question, though, no, it shifted, but yeah.
Yeah. We're just going back. We're talking about
what's
the
shift.
Control, like in a shift, all that shit.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, we need to wrap up, but
I gotta piss.
I mean, the thing is like, just let me try to take it back to unidentified. The whole point, the whole purpose of this,
and the North Face tribe. Let's do that.
Yeah. So the way we got onto this conversation is what the goal of this show is to educate the public and make it more socially acceptable for something like this to be truth. Now, I mean, we all agree that they're doing it the correct way. So we'll see. Like they got 3 more episodes left. I'm anxious, next podcast. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, like it'll be. Let's see. Today, episode 4. They don't air until like 8:00. So like. Yeah. We could live stream. We could commentary the last episode. watch it live. You know what I mean?
Tonight, like
we could have.
That is great. Actually,
that would be epic. Yeah,
one. I would rip that motherfucker to shreds.
Luis, I'm coming for you, baby.
Yeah,
you and this North Face driver. So I got one question.
Sure.
So just quick response before we get out of here. Or before we sign off, one question.
I'm not giving you a hand job before we leave.
Well, right.
Thank you. There you go.
So let's
somebody
say
here works for a living.
There we go. So the government comes out and says, yes, they're more than unidentified flying objects or UAPs. They're aliens. We know, and they're coming. What do you do? What are you doing? And then let's pass it around.
Oh my God!
This is just hypothetical. Hypothetical. What are you doing? Paul Mooney, what are you doing?
Man.
That's a good question.
That's a damn good question, man. What the fuck can he do?
Who's he? What are you doing?
What am I?
Yeah, not your boyfriend. What are you doing?
Honestly, if you ask me, if I heard... Okay, I'm not... I gotta piss so bad, you motherfucker.
I love you. What are you doing?
Honestly, look.
Yeah. You shaving the mustache?
I just thought it in my head. You asked me...
You're taking the vet, aren't you?
Huh?
You're taking the vet.
No, I'm getting high.
and then taking the vet.
Then I'm taking the vet.
No, seriously, it's like...
Yeah, what are you doing?
I don't want to panic. I'm going to get anxiety, probably. Like, I probably smoke... And like, just watch what happens. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
You go to bed like normal and whatever.
Weapons. My dad's got weapons, but
I'm going to Paul's house.
Do? Like,
I'm kicking Cliff's ass when he's not expecting.
Paul lives at 98540.
I'm taking all of their guns and ammo.
Unworldly entity? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm not trying to fight. There's no what to do.
So you're gonna smoke and chill and maybe watch your favorite movies, eat your favorite food.
Right. I'm just gonna watch the world burn. I guess I'm just gonna enjoy it though.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like if the government came out and said that there was, extraterrestrials and they were coming to Earth, there was nothing we could do to stop them. They were landing, and something was going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're talking about an alien race that can travel thousands of light years to come to our planet, I mean, honestly, like, what are you going to do? If they have that kind of technology, either one, they're benevolent and they want to help bring us up, or two, they're going to destroy us.
Right.
and there's nothing we can do to stop them.
Okay, but what are you, Rob, doing? Because we know the government's going to respond. However, what are you doing?
I'm going to hang out, just see what happens,
Have
and
a
just
beer?
Listen to some music.
I mean, what am I going to do? I mean, like, what am I going to do? Evacuate? I mean,
well, no, but
I can't like
go anywhere.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere. Have you seen my like? I can't load my kids up.
And where would you go?
Yeah, exactly.
Where
would you go?
Well, right. I'm with you.
No,
I'm just saying.
I would go buy a handgun, and if it came down to the point where like I knew that like they were gonna fucking like
you would the Mist your people,
huh?
Have you seen the movie The Mist? Oh, fuck.
No.
Okay, you got to watch that to understand that. But what would you do with the handgun?
Like I would make sure that my family didn't suffer.
That's a cold way to say I'd murder my fucking family in front of these aliens, dude. That's awesome, though. Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, Pablo?
I would much rather than go out by my hand than suffer some exhonorable fate, or that could be some torturous
respect, because that's fucking tough, bro. It's easy to say that in a podcast, but that'd be tough to fucking do. Pablo, what are you doing?
Well,
you shaving?
So, no, seriousness. Have you guys seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one?
Which first one?
The first one back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, damn, right?
Yeah.
The one where, so April O'Neil does a drawing of Leonardo waiting for Raphael to wake up from his coma state.
Right. I have that,
and
yeah.
He's like head down. Well, I think I'll sit on the couch and do that pose and just...
Have Meg draw you?
No, recoup my thoughts, because it's like here
Draw
I am.
me like one of your French girls, Jack.
Exactly.
Hold on, go on, Jacob,
because here I am thinking that there is a God.
Okay.
And I do have faith.
Sure.
But when I hear this, and this is like, okay, well, maybe there isn't. But I was like, I'll collect my thoughts and continue living life, still have faith, regardless of whatever the situation, call me oblivious or whatnot, because my faith...
I don't feel like the confirmed existence of alien life...
but
they're coming,
right?
The confirmation is one thing. The scenario is this. The government has told us, yes, they're real, and oh shit, guys, we don't know what's going to happen when they get here, but they're coming.
Right. Well,
and it's Saturday. They're gonna let's go deeper. It's Saturday. These motherfuckers are gonna be here Wednesday.
They got a long ride.
Okay. Well, I'll still take that approach. And
you going to work Monday, Tuesday?
No. I don't think I'll go to work.
I go to work.
I think
because you don't know. What if they show up? Then they'll be like, "Hey, man, we just wanted a picture of the Grand Canyon, and we're piecing out." You know what I mean? Like,
y'all are fucking stupid. We're just getting photos of some cool shit.
Yeah,
and
you know what
I
mean? What if they're like all the people that didn't freak out? Like, we're just gonna give you a bunch of free gold because it's like dirt on our planet,
But to go back to what I was saying, it's like I think I would get up, go get a 12-pack, just chill, drink, and
couple hot and ready.
We would definitely podcast about it.
Yeah, we'll podcast for that.
Oh, yeah.
I would just live my life normal, because what's going to happen is going to happen, and you can't control it. I mean, but the raw approach would be like, you know what? Be around your family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can do.
Well, until you have to shoot the shit out of them, yeah.
Well, unless if you have to. Shit.
Honestly,
everybody's going with the fucking morbid, the dark scenario.
Hey, I'm just saying,
like, going for the friendly, they're going to help us.
No, I'm with you, and I love it.
Well, you were outside, but what I said was, if an alien race came all this way, they either have one of two agendas. They're either benevolent and they're here to lift us up into the next state of technology and evolution as a species, or they're going to wipe us out. Yeah. There's no in between.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's all there is to it. Yeah.
You guys got good weed in Halo, and we don't have any of that on ours.
Not like Richard Dreyfuss and be like, "Take me now, I'm going now." Be all naked and shit, like in Close Encounters.
Richard Dreyfuss.
No, that's good though.
I mean, like the way I think about it is like this. I equivalate it to like an end of the world scenario. If an alien race shows up, I equivalate it to like a Deep Impact scenario. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Like if an asteroid hits Earth and it's like there's no way if they're like this asteroid's gonna hit Galveston in 6 hours.
Right.
There's no way that you're packing up enough shit getting out of here. Everybody in Houston is dead. So would I rather have them die like some horrible explosion, death,
burning or whatever?
Yeah,
right.
No, like I probably wouldn't tell the kids about it, and it would be terrible. And
I'm glad you said Deep Impact, not that fucking stupid Tom Cruise movie, World of Worlds.
God damn it!
Oh no, Deep Impact,
thank you.
Deep Impact for sure.
But Josh, what would you do?
Yeah,
besides,
so
smoke a lot of weed?
I don't know, man. So it's I would definitely do drugs.
Yeah.
Lots.
Right.
All those promises I made my wife about no more drugs,
Done.
out the window.
Out the window. Yeah, no. I don't
That's
know.
a Wednesday.
Right.
5 solid days.
If I had 5 solid days, I'm doing drugs 3 of those 5. No, I mean, so I would kind of probably do the same thing. But knowing how I am, I'd probably like to go out in a crazy fucking way if I thought I was going to go out.
Thelma and Louise style.
Right.
Karaoke night.
Something, man. Something. Butt naked on my roof, just doing stupid shit. I don't know. But I would... I'm kind of like you in that I would kind of just go, hey, whatever they're gonna fucking do, they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you do?
I hope I get to meet them.
Well, you could patriot up like Mel Gibson and like, come on, we're the fucking resistance. Get a fucking militia.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you right now, if any alien species came to Earth for any reason other than being the Vulcans, I hate to throw a Star Trek reference in because I'm not a big Star Trek fan, but
take that shirt off. You're wearing a Star Wars shirt.
Oh yeah, I am. But sidetrack. The only Star Trek movie that I've ever watched in its entirety and that I really like is Star Trek: First Contact, and it's about how they make. It's after World War III. The Earth is they're rebuilding society, and they use a nuclear missile to make a hyperdrive, and that's what the hyperdrive signature signals. The Vulcans see it and they show up at Earth, and it's first contact with an alien species, and it's a benevolent alien species. That's what I'm saying. The odds of that happening, I mean, as far as we know, I guess they could be 50-50. I mean, fuck, we don't know. But I'm just saying,
to drink.
But the whole like I'm gonna get guns and my dad has guns. That's like those Afghan soldiers shooting an AK at a Super Hornet.
Yeah,
flying by like that's not gonna do dick.
Yeah, it's that's like I feel like if you had an alien race like show up and they were not benevolent,
right?
Like you don't stand a chance, so why try?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if they were attacking, it's an Independence Day kind of scenario.
Say that's a Randy Quaid in fucking Independence Day.
Up yours, buddy.
Hey boys, I'm
back.
I'm back.
And on that note,
Fuck your notes.
It's been great. It was a great episode.
Yeah, it was
guys.
a great episode.
Yeah, lovely night, gentlemen. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
Paul's
edit that
starting a
out.
smooth jazz podcast.
I finally got close to it. Yeah.
did you eat that Subway sandwich?
No, I left it in the car. I'm waiting
What
for
the
it.
fuck?
On the way home, or I
Who
wait
put
till I
the
get home.
tuna on Ryan a fucking
That's not
hot
a
ass
tuna on
Mercedes,
rice,
dude?
it's
What
steak
kind
and
of shit
cheese.
is
I'll
that?
melt it later in a fucking. I'll nuke
Oh, I
it.
got some steak and cheese for you over here,
Disgusting,
cowboy.
Man. Get your own.
All right, and on that note,
I'm Jake.
I'm Big Josh.
I'm supposed to be Paul.
and I'm Rob.
Good
Signing
night.
out. Good night.
Yep.
You sound so fucking defeated. I'm supposed to be.